Hey, Jonathan here at Redeem Creations. Today we're going to talk about leather. Hey, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about what leather is best for an EDC, everyday carry wallet, in my opinion. There's a lot of different really amazing leathers out there, but I'll just kind of tell you a little bit about the stuff that I use, some of the stuff that I started with, why I changed from it, and why I picked the leathers that I picked. So these two leathers here are two that I actually, when I very first started out doing leather work, used quite a bit. When I first started, like I had said in the last video, I went down to Tandy Leather Supply and just started getting some of the stuff that they had. This one was an oil tan leather, and this is just a scrap that I found of it, but an oil tan leather, and I made a lot of wallets out of this. This leather here is their Kodiak. This is also an oil tanned leather, and it just has a little bit more of like a marbling on it. Now these two leathers are both chrome tanned or oil tanned, and there's two main types of leather. There's chrome tanned and then vegetable tan. Vegetable tan leather is used, the process is with more natural ingredients, hence the vegetable name, whereas the chrome tanned or oil tanned is with more chemicals, oils, things like that. So this is a lot easier to make. It also is cheaper, and for some things it's great. It's very durable. It has a long life, and it is a cheaper leather, so it's easier to make products at a good price point. The downside for me was, one, it's not as easy to work with. So, just cutting it, beveling the edges, burnishing it doesn't look as nice in most cases for a wallet, or at least the direction that I wanted to take it. So I stopped using this oil tan leather pretty much completely pretty early on. And this stuff I still do use occasionally for bags or things like that because it's perfect for that. It's super durable. It lasts a really long time. It's pretty water resistant because of the oils and the waxes that they put on this. So I actually still really like this leather for tote bags and small DOP kits or things like that. So this Kodiak leather is something that I still use. But really early on, I knew that for the quality that I was wanting to go for, I wanted to use a really high quality vegetable tan leather. So I started doing a bunch of research, and one of the tanneries that I came across was Horween. Horween's been around since 1905, so really long time. And they're American tannery in Chicago, and they make some of the best leather in the world, right? So I started using their Dublin line, and this is a vegetable tanned leather, the full grain leather. So there's a couple of different types of leather. There's full grain, there's top grain, and then there's genuine leather. Full grain is the best. What that means though is it's the full extent of the skin or the hide, and so you do get some imperfections. So this is kind of like a perfect piece to show that. So there's a little bit of a scar here, a couple of little marks here. I personally love that because it shows this is a real high quality hide, and how they tanned it didn't remove any of that or anything like that. So this color is the English Tan Dublin. This is one of my favorites. It bevels and burnishes great. It cuts really well, and very long lasting leather. And then it just gets a really nice patina over time. It also has a really good pull up. So the pull up is where if you pull up on the underside of the leather, that's going to kind of move those natural oils and waxes to the side, and you're going to get these lighter marks. So, those will go away too. If you rub it, they'll bring those oils and waxes kind of back down into the leather. But one of the cool things is if you want a even bit of a more distressed look, you can kind of give it a little bit of a squeeze like that, and then you just get this really nice look like that. And then a couple of the other colors that I use primarily, I have the brown Dublin, and this is a darker brown leather. Again, full grain, vegetable tan is the same line as this stuff. And then another one that I use a lot is their black. This black, actually, I looked for a while for a black leather that I really liked, because a lot of times black leather will have a lot of finishing treatments done, and it'll be really smooth. And you miss out on kind of that natural leather look. But the black Dublin, it still maintains a really nice grain pattern. A lot of times you can see some good fat wrinkles or just different distress kind of spots in the leather. So it still looks really nice. And then two new colors that I am adding in this line is the green Dublin. This is actually called Greener Pastures. This stuff has a really awesome pull-up, really amazing character. One of the things I noticed with this first hide that I got of it is the dye on it is a little inconsistent, but in a good way, right? So you have kind of these like little bit of lighter spots, a little bit darker spots. So it has a really nice, unique look to it. And then the other new color I'm adding is the Cobalt Dublin. And this is just a really nice blue. Again, has a really nice pull up on it. You get a good, nice little light spots and different things like that. So these are the main leathers I use. I do have a couple of other leathers that I use from MPG. MPG is an Italian tannery, and I have a couple of colors from them, from their Argonia line. I use the Sierra. This is actually a leather that I really, really like. It's also a full grain vegetable tan leather. With this leather, it has a bit more of a firm temper. And the temper, if you hear that term in leather, is the firmness of the leather, or kind of how, the easy way is just kind of like how easy it would fold, or just the feel, you know, of the leather, how hard it feels. And this definitely has a firmer temper. So it takes a little bit longer to break in than the Dublin. All of the Dublin leather breaks in super, super fast because it just has this really nice supple feel to it. This has a supple feel, but it's just a little bit firmer. And so when any of the wallets I make out of this definitely take a little bit longer to break in, but the patina that these get is just incredible. Really, really high quality leather from an Italian tannery that's been around for a really long time. All right, and I'm sure you noticed here, some of these colors I actually have cut into strips, and the main reason for that is they're easier for me to process. So the full hide comes in a 16 to 22 square feet, and then I'll cut them down into these panels, and then on my clicker press, I'll have a die that I set on here to cut out the pieces, and then it'll cut out various pockets like this. So you can see, you know, that's kind of why I cut it into strips. Makes it a little easier to process, and then I can store it a little easier just in strips too, if I know I'm gonna have a certain number of wallets in that color. All of my Horween leather I actually get direct from the tannery, and to do that, you do have to buy it by the hide. Typically, I'm looking at anywhere between 18 to 22 square feet per hide. So with that size, you're definitely committed to the color or that leather. But there are a couple of places that do sell Horween leather by the panel. One that I really like a lot, and I've used them to test out leathers, and it's actually where I buy all of my hardware, is buckleguy.com. And they sell Wicket and Craig, which is another American tannery. They have a couple of European tanneries, and then they have the Horween panels. You can also buy straps and everything like that. So just a really good source. They're also very, very helpful. There's been plenty of times when I've called them and they've answered a lot of my questions about various things and been very, very helpful. So buckleguy.com, the Tannery Row, which is where Horween's sales is, and then districtleathersupply.com are the main sources. All right, thanks for watching. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of insight into the kinds of leather that I use, why I chose them. And next time I'm gonna go through making a wallet. So I'll show you kind of from start to finish, the different steps, the basic tools, and then probably in a later video, I'll do a deeper dive into the kinds of tools I use, the tools I started with, the tools I use now, and hopefully answer any questions. So if you have any questions about leatherwork that you'd like to see, drop it in the comments below, and I'll try to get to some of those in the next video. Thanks. See you next time.